Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment.
Man, I ain't gonna lie.
Let's face it, the news of Diddy's arrest has stunned everyone. But was it really that surprising? What if we told you that everything we've seen thus far is maybe a prelude to a grander plot that involves a betrayal by a close Diddy ally? It sounds crazy, but there are suspicions that Diddy, one of the most influential people in the music industry, was set up by his own Fing collaborator. It's possible that members in his inner circle were behind this arrest, rather than it being a random incident. Someone like Jay-Z may be involved.
That's my initial reaction, because that's how I always feel when I see situations like this. And then there's this weird sense of grief, because it is Diddy, right? Diddy is a hip-hop hero. He's an ordinary person who did extraordinary things. To sit here and act like the man wasn't a huge part of our upbringing is a damn lie. So there's this weird sense of grief. Like another one of our heroes has ruined their legacy, and it's their own fault because of poor choices?
It all began with Diddy's abrupt move to New York. At first, it appeared as though he was getting ready for a legal battle. In fact, his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, released a statement regarding it. Sean Diddy Combs is a music icon, a self-made entrepreneur, and he voluntarily relocated to New York last week in anticipation of these charges. However, the official account of D's arrest in a Manhattan hotel may not have been as clear-cut as it seemed.
I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week.
The timing, the location, and the circumstances all seem a little too convenient, especially for someone as experienced as Diddy, who had managed to avoid serious legal trouble for decades, despite a career steeped in controversy. On the night of the arrest, federal agents reportedly moved in on Diddy's hotel in New York City, taking him into custody without much resistance. The charges had been hanging over him for months, and many were expecting something like this to happen.
If you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him.
Fans and insiders soon began to speculate that there was more to Diddy's story than what first appeared. Some even theorized that Diddy knew he was walking into a trap, but was tricked into thinking he had an opportunity to clear his name, or possibly even strike a deal to keep his freedom. This is where the name Jay-Z comes into play.
Okay, this is what I mean when I say people wake up every day and just volunteer lies. Diddy, how are we supposed to believe anything that comes out of your mouth? And furthermore, why should we not believe the rumors of things going in your mouth when you out here volunteering bold-faced lies? You would still be lying to us right now if it was no video. You didn't even apologize to Cassie in the video.
Diddy and Jay-Z have long been perceived as rivals allies, but their friendship hasn't always been easy to understand. There have been instances when they seem to support one another, but there have also been occasions when their rivalry was unavoidable. We push each other. We inspire each other. It's just a beautiful relationship of natural competitiveness. But what if that rivalry went too far? Could Jay-Z, aware of the impending storm Diddy was about to face, have seen an opportunity to remove himself from the chaos and secure his own position in the industry? One theory circulating online suggests that Jay-Z may have been instrumental in Diddy's downfall, not by turning him in directly, but rather by manipulating him into walking straight into the hands of law enforcement. Imagine this. Diddy, aware that the legal heat was building, received a call from none other than Jay-Z. Perhaps Jay-Z offered him a way out, a deal with the FBI, perhaps even a promise that things would get easier for him if he cooperated. It's not implausible when you consider the influence and connections someone like Jay-Z could wield behind the scenes.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap.
The question on everyone's mind is whether Jay-Z tipped off the authorities, or did he simply let events unfold, knowing that with Diddy out of the picture, his own empire would continue to grow uncontested. Desperate to preserve what's left of his legacy, Diddy takes the bait and travels to New York thinking he's about to negotiate some sort of settlement or cooperation. Instead, he walks straight into the Hotel H where federal agents are waiting, and they arrest him without any drama. Suddenly, Diddy is in custody while Jay-Z, remaining unfavorable in the music industry.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Acceptable monster.
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Though Jay-Z has never been involved in a scandal as scandalous as Diddy's current situation, people close to both of them have observed how he manages trouble while keeping his hands clean. After all, he is the ultimate businessman, and in business, sometimes even friendships become collateral damage. But what about Diddy's circle? Let's not forget that Diddy has an entourage of devoted followers, so rumors about him are rampant that some of Diddy's closest associates may have helped set him up, whether it was due to self-preservation or fear for their own futures. It's not unreasonable to think that members of Diddy's inner circle may have been collaborating with police enforcement.
It's just crazy. Just read.
Is there any possibility that he walks away clean from this, that everything is dropped and he faces no charges or any prison time?
Not impossible. I mean, anything is possible, but I don't see that happening. I see him kind of going the path of R. Kelly, where again, for so many decades, he was able to act with impunity and just, with harming so many young women.
Consider the numerous court cases and accusations that Diddy has faced. He has been able to avoid many of them by reaching settlements. It is possible that some of these insiders, possibly people Diddy trusted for years, decided it was time to cut bait and cooperate with authorities in exchange for their own immunity. This would not be the first time we have seen something similar happen in the celebrity world, given the sheer volume of accusations made over the years about everything from violent behavior to illegal activities. Some people believe that Diddy's arrest was purposefully delayed to give his inner circle enough time to distance themselves and negotiate their own deals with the authorities. By the time Diddy arrived in New York, it was already too late for him to do anything other than play into their hands. This theory, that Diddy was framed by those closest to him, gains even more traction when you consider the timing of his arrest.
Industry talk, there's a lot of people who have worked for him. There's been stories around, which is, not necessarily unusual.
One name that frequently appears in these allegations is Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former Diddy colleague who recently brought a lawsuit of his own against the music mogul. The fire has been fueled by Jones's allegations regarding the hidden cameras in Diddy's residences and the covert recordings of influential people acting dubious. According to Jones, Diddy had incriminating footage of celebs, executives, and sportsmen at his infamous parties footage that may destroy careers. There is a theory that suggests Diddy's imprisonment was related to this video and that Jay-Z and other celebrities intended for it to never be released. However,
you pay those lawyers to know. Those lawyers know what he's going to beat, and those lawyers know what he ain't going to beat.
There is a twist to this story. What if Jay-Z and the other members of Diddy's circle were not only seeking to shield themselves from as a result of these recordings? What if they saw a chance to completely cut Diddy out of the picture and secure their own futures in the process? By turning Diddy over to the authorities, they could make sure that any threats to their reputations were eliminated, while also eliminating one of their main rivals in the business.
Mr. Diddy, aka Mr. Love. Now, Dr.
No, Sean Carter.
Jay. Okay.
This theory is becoming more and more popular by the day, especially as more information about Diddy's arrest becomes available. The way everything happened, the swift settlement of Cassis's lawsuit, the unexpected raids on DA's properties, and the rumors that Jay-Z was involved, paints a picture of a well-planned takedown. If Jay-Z was really involved, it would be one of the biggest betrayals in hip-hop history. Once friends and partners, Two of the biggest names in music are now embroiled in a high-stakes struggle for survival and dominance. Jay-Z might be working behind the scenes to keep his own empire intact, while Diddy gets entangled in a web of charges and legal issues. It is the kind of tale that could only occur in the world of celebrities, where betrayal is just another tactic in a game where loyalty
Everything that you're
is
looking
brittle.
at, they're all tied in together. Every part, as crazy as this seems, as outrageous as it seems, it all ties in.
As more details emerge and the rumors continue to circulate, one thing is certain: this is far from over. Diddy may be in custody, but the true story of how he got there is still being told. And whether Jay-Z was directly involved or not, his name will always be associated with the demise of one of his closest friends. As fans, all we can do is watch the drama play out, wondering who will win in this game of survival, betrayal, and power. But here's the thing: regardless, while it might be easy to get caught up in the drama of a potential betrayal by Jay-Z or his inner circle, the truth is that Diddy's troubles run much deeper. If Diddy was framed, many argue that he is far from an innocent victim. In fact, some would say he had this coming all along. Diddy has been at the center of numerous controversies over the years. This latest arrest is just the culmination of a long history of allegations and shady behavior.
Well, one of the things that's going to happen, and I do believe that there has been a grand jury investigation that has been employed in this case. I think there may be a federal investigation going on, and there may be a stateside one, but I'm not totally sure. But one of the things that the prosecution in any case is going to try to do is show that there is a pattern of behavior here.
The money that they're saying Diddy has to start paying this guy on October 1st, right. Diddy's team is like, hold on, we need an emergency conversation about why this should not have been granted. And they awarded him a TRO, which basically meant that Diddy's team was not allowed to sell any property in that state or anything related to what could be used to pay the plaintiff.
The 1999 nightclub incident in New York, where a fight resulted in gunfire and 3 injuries, is among Diddy's most notorious prior events. Diddy was involved in the chaos along with his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez and his protege Shine. While Shine ended up serving time, Diddy walked away from the incident relatively unscathed, claiming he had nothing to do with the violence. However, many people did not buy that story, as there were rumors that Diddy had used his connections and influence to avoid serious consequences,
New at 5,
leaving
the
Shine
legal
to take the
troubles
fall.
continue for Sean Diddy Combs tonight after a judge ordered the music mogul to pay $100 million to a Michigan man who says that he was assaulted by Combs in '97.
According to court documents, Derek Cardello Smith says Combs and then assaulted him during an after party at a Holiday Inn in Detroit. But Combs never responded to the lawsuit in court.
Go ahead, and after a few years, Diddy's reputation for using pushy business methods only got stronger. The music industry is notorious for its ruthlessness, but Diddy took it a step further. There have been reports of intimidation and backdoor deals, as well as claims that he has harmed the careers of other musicians in order to preserve his supremacy.
Named Diddy 77 times in court documents related to Tupac.
Industry insiders have claimed that Diddy's true influence came from his ability to control the narrative, whether it was by buying off people or instilling fear in order to keep prospective challenges at bay. Many of the legal battles Diddy has fought over the years have actually been quietly settled, leaving some to wonder how much dirty laundry has been ignored. For instance, the numerous lawsuits filed by former associates and employees who claimed Diddy had mistreated them or financially wronged them have frequently resulted in undisclosed settlements. This tendency of avoiding open trials has only served to fuel rumors that the defendants had something to hide and that financial incentives were being used to suppress the truth.
The only man currently facing murder charges in the case, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, claims that Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, paid for a hit on Tupac.
There has been speculation for years that Diddy was working as an informant for the FBI, which could explain why he was able to avoid serious legal trouble for so long. These theories suggest that Diddy may have been providing information to authorities in exchange for protection, which would certainly make sense given his ability to maneuver through the numerous allegations and scandals unscathed. The theory that Diddy was working with the FBI gained traction after a series of high-profile incidents seemed to point to his possible cooperation with law enforcement. Some fans and industry insiders believe that Diddy may have had deeper ties to law enforcement than anyone realized. One such instance was the tragic shooting death of the well-known B in 1997, which rocked the hip-hop community as a whole. While the community has always insisted that he was unaware of the shooter, others think he knew more than he disclosed. In fact, there are rumors that Diddy may have been collaborating with law enforcement in the wake of Biggie's death to help bring down specific suspects related to This theory becomes even more intriguing when you consider Diddy's long-standing rivalry with Suge Knight, the infamous co-founder of Death Row Records. Their feud, which started in the mid-1990s during the height of the East Coast-West Coast rap wars, was one of the most notorious in the music industry. Of course, none of this has ever been proven.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was up.
Although Suge and Diddy have both downplayed the severity of their feud in recent years, it is undeniable that their disagreement contributed to violence fears and the final deaths of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls. Diddy has been playing a dangerous game for decades, one where power, influence, and fear have kept him out of trouble. Now that the walls are closing in, it seems like Diddy might finally be paying the price for all the things he has gotten away with in the past. Some have speculated that Diddy's alleged cooperation with the FBI could have been motivated by a desire to protect himself from Suge and his associates, ensuring that he stayed one step ahead of his enemies. Of course, these are just theories and rumors that have been circulating for years, but which have never been verified.
Criminal investigation for months by federal prosecutors here in New York, and if there are criminal charges, many of them may look a lot like what some of these individuals have been describing.
Important to remember that Diddy's reputation has also been attributed to accusations of unethical business methods and taking advantage of others in his vicinity. Former Bad Boy Records artists have opened up about their experiences working with Diddy, with many alleging that he financially exploited them. For instance, artists like Ma have openly criticized Diddy for keeping them in unfavorable contracts and withholding royalties, which prevented them from reaping the rewards of their own success. Ma even went so far as to call Diddy out for his hypocrisy, claiming that while he openly supports black ownership and empowerment, in private he degrades the very musicians who have contributed to the development of his empire.
Of course, there's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers upon layers.
The irony of Diddy's demise is that, despite his reputation as untouchable for a long time, he was always one step ahead of the law and was able to avoid consequences for his actions. However, with his...
Well, that's the interesting part here. And so what the plaintiff in this case did was filed for what we call a temporary restraining order, which would have prevented Diddy, or would prevent him from selling that Los Angeles home. And so we know, or at least we believe, that that TRO was granted to enjoin or stop him from selling that home.
Despite his wealth and power, Diddy has amassed an excessive number of enemies. These include rivals in the music business, former business partners, and artists he has wronged. It seems that the forces against Diddy have finally succeeded in doing what no one could have predicted, placing him in a situation where he is unable to negotiate or pay his way out. But the most important question still stands. If Diddy was really helping the police all these years, why did not that shield him now? Some people think that D's fall from grace was caused by a broken deal with the FBI. Perhaps he stopped helping, or perhaps he became too much of a liability for them to keep protecting him. Others believe that there is a bigger plot behind this arrest to have him removed from power organized by individuals in the music business and law enforcement who viewed Diddy as a danger. Although it is simple to concentrate on Diddy's transgressions and dubious history, the notion that he was set up by those closest to him lends a tragic touch to the tale. One of the most significant betrayals in hip-hop history, if Jay-Z and Diddy's other pals really did abandon him, would be the subject of years of discussion. But let us not overlook the fact that, regardless of the facts surrounding Jay-Z's